Right, we've got a lot to go through, so I'm going to try and be as rapid as I can, and I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to talk about, I'll come to the charts in a bit, but I'm going to sort of talk about the extra bits and bobs first. So, first of all, it's at everyone's lips, well, I guess, and that is crypto. Crypto. Seems to have gone batshit crazy over the last couple of weeks. That's a technical term. So if we look at Bitcoin to begin with, it has done crazy things. It was teasing $35,000. We've just recently had, literally in the last, I guess, half a day, we've had this big old spike down, and it looks like it's recovering, which means, I mean, it looks like one hell of a low test. So potentially, there's even further movement upwards. I remember, where was it? Yeah, it was this one here. There was another low test that we saw just before Christmas, and I said to a few people, oh, okay, that looks interesting. And then, yeah, we had another surge up. So by the looks of this huge low test, that could be quite explosive. Would it make a run up to 50? Who knows? I'm not in Bitcoin, I'm personally in Ether. Let's get rid of this. I'm still concerned about this gap, by the way. But yeah, Ether's finally catching up. That almost touched 1200, had a bit of a retrace, but all in all, it's still up. However, the thing that does concern me is that my spider sense, my little squirrel sense in me, starts shouting at me every time I see things go vertical or things go completely nuts. And I would actually say, yeah, crypto is completely nuts at the moment. And from a trader perspective, I'm not looking the signs of this. This is not natural. A natural sort of rally, I guess, is something like this, where it's nice and orderly. But when we have blow-off tops like this, you nearly always see some form of pullback to the base trend line. So there's this massive sort of circle of correction, I guess. The market... the base trend line is your friend. It nearly always comes back to this at some point. So I am interested in seeing some form of a pullback. I mean, we had another sort of example here where 𝗷𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗶 started going crazy. And then, I mean, at this point, it was like everyone was like, oh, crypto's going to the moon. But then we had a pullback to this trend line. So don't get caught up in the hype. If you just Google it or go on forums, whatever, every sort of crypto fanboy is going, hell yeah. But this is when I start to get a bit nervous, especially with big vertical bars like this. And I guess the same sort of furor, I guess, is happening around here, like in 2017. So I remember this one here, where we had a bit of a pullback. Again, look at that low test followed by another explosion up. So that's why I'm thinking, maybe we could have another explosion up before we have some sort of correction. But normally, even if you did ride it up and go, oh shit, we had a bit of a pullback, the market will normally give you another entry to sort of get out. So in this case, it did pull back a little bit before it really sort of bailed over. So yeah, I am getting a bit nervous. Now, it's an important thing to cover, and that's tax, because everything you do on cryptos is a tradable event. So the moment you exit, get in, or exit something, that is a tradable event. So the trader in me really wants to, let's get back to Bitcoin so it's like a clearer sort of picture. So the trader in me wants to exit now and, crystallize all of the profits that I've made, in whatever rally, and then wait for it to pull back and then buy more. So you'll end up with more crypto for your buck. However, you then got a taxable event there. So thankfully, and I'm very happy about this, I'm getting lots of people messaging me privately going, hey Simon, thanks so much for giving me a heads up with crypto, Tesla, etc., because Tesla's done also the same thing. If we just get Tesla up here for the moment, again, I'm worried about this I guess this gaping hole of a potential correction here, and I know I've had people say, hey, thanks for due to copying you, I'm now 10 grand up, blah blah, all the way up to someone's made 220 grand profit from copying my or follow me into Ether, etc. Now, the thing is, the moment you exit, even if you go from Ether to another crypto or Ether to sterling or dollar, whatever, let's take this person for example. I don't know what their CGT threat rate is, but it's either 18% or 28%. But let's just use the lower. Well, what is 18% on 220k profit? 18%. So straight away, the second you do that, this person is then lumped with almost a 40 grand tax bill that they need to pay by the end of the year or end of their account tax year, etc. And so, you then have to weigh up that seesaw of going, do I want more tokens, by exiting now and getting into crypto, on a pullback, or the flip side is that, do you have a spare 39 grand in cash to pay a tax bill? So part of you may be thinking, oh yeah, but I'll just sell some crypto to, cover the tax bill in a year or whatever. Well, again, when you sell in the future, there will be another tax bill on top of that for, onwards. So sometimes it actually helps just to ignore the trader part of you and go, actually, screw that. I'm just going to do nothing. Sit on my hands, do nothing. And personally, that's what I'm going to do. Although every fiber of my trading body wants to exit now and wait for some sort of pullback, I'm not going to, simply because I don't really want to crystallize 100% ROI growth, because we've got in around sort of 400-ish. So, yeah. Does that make sense, everyone? I know it's a bit weird, but it's important. And you just know that HMRC, although they've been slow to the wicket in terms of taxing everyone for crypto, you know that they will catch up. So, yeah, so James, keep your tax provision in bot into studio. Yeah, you can if you want. Just personally, I don't want to create that taxable event because you're still going to pay it. So Rob, every time I sell Ether, I regret it. Recently sold all my Ether at 260 to wait pullback. Yeah, mate, I did the same. If we go back to 2017, I was riding all the way down. So I was selling and basically gathering more and more Ether. I think I tripled my Ether holdings during the crash of 2018, because all I was doing is I was looking at compressions. So I was simply going, oh look, here's a rising compression falling market, I'm going to get out. I'd wait till it crashes a bit more and then I'd buy in. And so, and in fact, it was especially in this little rally here is where I did it most. So I remember, where was it? I think it was this one. I got out of Ether here, waited it to drop a bit, bought a bit more, so I ended up with more Ether. And then I think I did the same over here. There was another sort of compression, and I was like, we're going to fall over. I sold everything, bought again in the lows, end up with more. And so, yeah, end up with 3 times more Ether than I began. And I kept doing it. When it does, sometimes, whoopsie, crypto does a lot of the same things. And again, here's another one, which we got exited. But the thing that really caught me out, and some of you may have been around in the community, is I saw this happening. So I started off, I can't remember how many Ether I had, but at some point I had like 400 Ether or something like that after all of this. And then I saw this final rising compression in a falling market. And I was, cool, sell. And guess what happened? Shit. So I literally exited. I was completely out of crypto for the best part of a year. For all of this, I missed out. It did come back, but yeah, then I got back in a bit later. So, yeah. So, all I want to say is that I'm a bit wary of this. Looking at Bitcoin, if it stays as a low test, I'd be inclined to believe that it's probably got another sort of rally up to 40 at least. But yeah. We will see. So that's crypto. Let's have a look at the questions very quickly before we move on. Okay, yeah. So some people are, I guess, are getting FOMO, fear of missing out, so to speak. I would really not give in to FOMO and try not to top pick or bottom pick. No one likes a bottom picker. In life or in trading. And I think the analogy I use a lot with this is Amazon. So back in the day, there were a lot of people, I mean most people didn't have a clue about Amazon, but there were a whole bunch of Amazon aficionados back in the early 90s saying Amazon's going to change the world, and everyone's like, well, yeah, but it's just an online bookstore. How is it going to change the world? But then people are like, oh, it's going to be the shop of everything, yada yada yada. And then yeah, we saw Amazon do its crypto type rally from sort of during the tech bubble. Then it crashed, and then it was sort of in the doldrums for a long time, for well over a couple of years. Like it made a high of 110 and then just went all the way back down to $10 for a long time. Very similar to crypto, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, had a bit of a rally. This looks almost identical to crypto, really. Then it reached all-time highs, and here we go. It just shot up above those all-time highs. And everyone's like, ah, shit, it's 150. Nah, it's too expensive. Too expensive. Nah, no thanks. Oh dear. Oh dear, shit. It's now 250. Oh no. And the thing is, if you're not going to get in at 150, 250, whatever, you wouldn't have got in at 350. And like Amazon was one of those things that never looked back. It just never really gave you the opportunity to get in, unless you're very lucky around here. But by then you've missed out on most of the move. And now Amazon is doing this. And I think crypto is going to do the same thing. In my opinion, this is not investment advice or anything like that. So what's happened now is that it's breached its all-time highs, and it's like, ah, shit. The public is now going to be getting, all into this. This is going to be in the front page of the newspapers, that Bitcoin's the best performing asset class in human history. But I wouldn't worry about the highs or the lows. What I have always, and I said to my friends and family, is just save in, like, pound cost average in is the correct term. So whatever your surplus, monthly surplus is, just, whatever you're saving or putting in an ISA, I mean, have a little think about maybe instead of an ISA or whatever, just put it in crypto. Just every month, just pound cost average in. Like at this point in time, anyone that's ever bought any Bitcoin and held on to it is in profit right now. And you could just, I mean, even if, let's say, you got caught up in the 2017 hype bubble, let's just say you were not going to top pick, bottom pick, and you just bought every single month. And let's just say you bought at the absolute high of every month. So here's June. Let's say you bought here. Here's July. Let's say you bought here. August. Let's say you bought that high there. It's in September. Yeah, let's say you bought that high. And then in this month you bought that high. Like, let's say you are literally the world's worst investor and you managed to just pound cost in, average in, £200 a month or whatever it is. Like, even on this is why you have to maintain the bigger picture. Because look, even though you bought in at exactly the worst times, you're going to be in profit over the long term. Obviously, yes, you would have been bleeding or underwater for most of 2018, 2019, etc. But even still, if you just buy, hold, like, you'd still be in a very nice position. So as I maintain, the thing that I see happening is crypto is going to, again, in my opinion, go a lot higher. I think this is like Amazon around in the early 2000s when it just breached their previous tech bubble high. So just pound cost average in. And when you go back, I mean, I've made loads of YouTube videos on why I think it's going to go higher, but I mean, you can just look at basic numbers. So, for example, I don't want to turn this into a crypto video, but there's so many things you can do. I mean, just take gold. Gold is about a $10 trillion market cap, or $8 to $10 trillion. It's gone up recently because of the price increase, so let's just say it's $10 trillion, okay? So Bitcoin is basically everything gold is, except it has a lot more pros than cons. It's more liquid. Like, gold is very illiquid. You can't transport it. It's great as a wealth preserver, but you can't really move it. Whereas Bitcoin doesn't have any of that stuff. It has more of a networking effect. It's actually more scarce than gold, etc., etc. Well, right now, the last time I checked, in fact, what does CoinMarket say? CoinMarketCap say? The market cap would have gone up, no doubt. It's what, 850,000. It's gone up a lot since I last looked. So it's 850, or call it, let's put it in different terms, it's $0.85 trillion market cap. So let's just say, let's say it's going to go up 9 times. Let's round it up to a trillion just to make it easier for maths. Well, yeah, let's just say it goes up 10 times just to match gold's market cap, okay? And again, please watch the other YouTube videos, and I've gone into this way more. But what is a 10x market cap increase from here puts Bitcoin at I've lost my charts. Let's call it $30,000. So that puts Bitcoin at like $300,000. Now, by the way, I myself can pick holes in this whole argument myself, but I'm just giving you one little 300,000 per Bitcoin. So if you were to look at that, I mean, yeah, just pound cost average in is what I'm personally doing. So again, I don't want to turn this into a crypto thing. What I would highly recommend doing, you guys all have access to the videos, so go to your portal, trading training, and you'll get to this naturally. If you're just going through the videos in your free trial, you'll get to it naturally. But in level 1, the big picture stuff, I go through a lot of the maths in this video here, everything you need to know about crypto investing in a nutshell. So yeah. So that's that. And again, I'm not in Bitcoin because I'm doing my Ether thing. It's it's interesting. So last night I've been looking at Ether against Bitcoin because I'm personally trying to get into Ether, and then I'll consider getting into Bitcoin when Ether gets to the 0.1 ratio. And at the moment, it's all the way down here. And last night, I was texting some of the RT mentors going, I wonder if this becomes a nice double bottom. And then we see a nice spike up, and guess what's happened? That double bottom played out. And so this is what I've been looking at all the time. I made this doodle a long time ago, and this is what I'm expecting. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep on buying. I mean, Ether is so undervalued compared to Bitcoin. It's ridiculous. I'm not even going to bother buying any Bitcoin at the moment. I'm just going to concentrate my pound cost averaging into Ether. So that's that. Let's get out of that. Right. Let's look at the chat box just in case I'm missing anything. So starting with Adam, euro dollar. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go on to the crypto. Our existing trades in a minute. Any opinion on debates versus ADA, EOS? Apparently, yeah, they do. A lot of them serve the same purpose. 𝗁 is another one. It's just that not the best tech doesn't always win. Look at Betamax versus VHS. Arguably, it could be said that it's the porn industry that made VHS the winner, because that's what they were all filming on, and everyone was like, oh, okay. The best tech doesn't always win. It's a bit like this. Again, it's in that crypto course. There is a critical threshold. So when it comes to new techs, etc., I guess it's like the law of innovate. The adoption. Oh no, it's not like that. It's an adoption S basically. So let's have 2 graphs here. So this is adoption. So this is time, and this is market percentage. So you have like not much, you have a massive adoption, and then you have this, it sort of plateaus from here. It's like the S wave adoption. But around here you have like the innovators, the early adopters, etc. But then eventually you get this chasm, which I believe off the top of my head is between 13 to 17% market adoption. And it's this chasm. Now if a tech or something doesn't get beyond this chasm, it then just peters out for a very slow death. However, if it breaches this chasm and then you get the early majority in, that's when it starts to spike. Because when you look at an adoption, it looks like this. You have sort of early adopters, the inventors, you then have the early majority, then you have the late majority, early majority, adopters, and then innovators over here with this first bit. And then you have the laggards. I mean, these are the people still using a BlackBerry mobile phone or a Nokia. So in terms of like adoption, but it actually looks like an S curve when you look at total market adoption. So basically, a market goes nuts whenever the early majority starts kicking in. So for cryptos, that's going to be like the millennials, really. It's not going to be like my dad. I mean, I explained my mum's example about cryptos in the previous trading pub, but yeah, and I think, and I guess it's hype spikes like we're seeing right now, which sort of get the early majority in. But when we talk about Ether and let's say app platforms, let's just call Ether, etc., app platforms. So there is this critical like threshold which they have to, and let's say there's a time over here. Now, let's just say for this graph, whatever gets above this line goes into sort of mainstream attention, so to speak. So you have Ether that started all the way over here and has been slowly gaining traction, and then let's say it does its thing and then it goes through here, right? It's had years and years and years of time to develop. And let's just say, I can't remember off the top of my head when Ether started, but let's just say it was 2015? No, yeah, about 2015, I think. I'm sure 𝗵𝗶𝗶 can correct me. So it's had all this time and it's slowly doing its thing. And I think last time I checked, and by the way, my data set on crypto is probably a year out of date. Last time I looked, there was over 1 million developers. There's 1 million plus developers that could code in Solidity, which is the Ethereum language. But then you have, newcomers. So, you have someone like 𝗁𝗏𝗂 that pops up in 2017 that has great technology, does exactly the same thing. But guess what? They may grow faster, but it's too late. If they get to this threshold later than Ether, it's game over, because Ether would have just gobbled up the whole market space. Again, you have other things that could have popped up. I mean, everyone was talking about Hashgraph and EOS. EOS came around in sort of late 2017, did one of the biggest ICO fundraisers ever, and that's doing this. But the thing is, if they're late to this line, game over. And in my opinion, Ether is getting very close to this line. Just wait till Ether 2.0 comes out, and with the staking, there's going to be a lot of people staking, as in locking up their Ether to get roughly anywhere between 5-10% yield per year. And when that happens, Ether becomes very the currency supply of Ether becomes a lot smaller, and therefore things go a lot higher, faster. Does this all make sense? I sort of want to get away from crypto. Yep. Cool. Wonder. Yeah, Neo. Yeah, Neo could have. Again, Neo is similar. Ontology is similar-ish. But the thing is, Bitcoin really, when you look at Bitcoin, I guess it's a transfer of wealth. Like it's wealth preservation. You can buy stuff with it, sort of. But it's more of a store of wealth. But with Ether, it's exactly what Bitcoin is. It is, you can transact with it, but it's also a platform to build stuff off. Like if you look at example, let's look at WordPress. Is probably the easiest thing I can think of. So WordPress is a website building platform, right? Like all of my websites are made on WordPress. But businesses around the world have built their whole businesses on WordPress websites, like myself. Like 7 of the 9 companies I have all use WordPress, okay? I mean, it's nothing massive, but there's nothing fancy. But like, I'm building businesses on top of WordPress. So that's how you should think of Ether. Ether is simply a platform which people can build stuff. They can build crypto projects, decentralized voting systems, decentralized vaccine stuff, who knows? And yeah, there's a huge, as Adam says correctly, there's a huge industry of WordPress developers. Another example, which is less, I guess, like if you look at Facebook as a platform, there's you can look at it as a business platform as well. How many businesses have gone stratospheric from, launching by being a Facebook business? Like if you go into Facebook, Zynga, there we go, Zynga. I think that's how you spell it. Zynga is like a Facebook game company, and they IPO'd for billions not long ago. And that is just purely based on Facebook games, which is just nuts. So just wait until the world starts exploring and being able to build stuff on Ethereum. It's going to go nuts. This is why when I say I'm considering getting into Bitcoin at 0.1, I think maybe it could actually go beyond it. So at the moment, it's like a little pencil mark here. I'll reevaluate the whole market. I mean, it's pointless trying to evaluate it now. It's too early. I'll come back in 3 years and see what happens, or 2 years. But this, just from a trading point of view, this should come back round. I mean, it's too undervalued at the moment compared to Bitcoin. Right, so that's enough of crypto for the moment. There's a few other questions. Arvina, how would you buy Bitcoin if it's banned? You can't ban Bitcoin. The only way to ban Bitcoin is to ban it in every country on the planet. And even then, you just buy it on the dark web. And guess what? So I actually hope big countries around the world ban crypto. I really do, because what do you think happens to the price? It goes up. It really does go up. So Mark said Tesla isn't a car company like McDonald's isn't a food company. Completely agree. Tesla is a utility energy company that happens to have iPad-like cars. Timothy, if you had a lump sum, would you average in or go all in at once? Again, I can't do the whole advice. What I would personally do, my 2 pennies worth or my 2 ethers worth, I guess, like I say, normally, if you're completely not in, it's been in some of my videos, I guess, is that your pot, 25% in now. Again, this is just what I'm doing. And then the rest of it, pound cost average in over the period of a year. Just so you have skin in the game and you're not missing stuff, if that makes sense. But so there's a question by Sarah. Tesla so much more than just cars? ? So I'm not sure. Is that a question as in what?
No, sorry, it was just in response to it was above the McDonald's bit.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. You're right. Let's move on to the Anita. Okay, last question. Just joined, so sorry if covered. But what do you think of the delisting of privacy coins by Bittrex? Ignore it. So Bittrex, they're a US-based company. I think they're based in Las Vegas, and they just have to follow whatever the SEC are saying. So Bittrex have delisted so many cryptos over the last few years. It's ridiculous, but it's just one tiny exchange. I mean, it's okay, not tiny. It's a relatively large exchange, but it's going to make no difference. And I actually hope they ban privacy coins, and they will. Just think about it. The world. I mean, I've in a very, I guess, depressing Facebook status I put out this morning or last night. I see the world. 2021 is going to be the year where they really start accelerating the demonization of cash. They will start rapidly demonizing any cash holders. They'll say stuff, cash is only used by criminals. You don't need it. It transmits viruses. Everyone stop using cash because they'll probably use it under the virus thing. Let's get rid of tax dodgers, virus spreaders, and criminals. So let's get rid of cash. So that's what they'll do. They get loads of celebrities to tout it out and go, hey, I've gone cashless, have you? And they'll do that in conjunction with rolling out their digital sterling, which is a crypto-based sterling. Now, the whole world, or anyone in the UN, will pretty much be doing that. So what was I talking about? All the central banks will be releasing their crypto currencies, you have digi-dollar, digi-pound, digi-yen, all that sort of stuff. And there'll be and so because they're trying to force us all into a pen before the slaughterhouse, like this cashless society, they will at the same time outlaw privacy coins because they don't want people to be able to escape. But let's say, there's roughly, again, the last time I looked, there's over 2,500 illegal billionaires on the planet. And that blows my mind. There's over, according to UBS, there's over 2,500 illegal billionaires, i.e. criminals. So drug lords, cartels, all that sort of stuff. Where are they going to put their money? How are they going to run their criminal empires with digi-sterling or digi-dollar where everything is tracked? Because it will be on some sort of ledger. They won't. They have to. They will have to trade in gold, silver, not Bitcoin, privacy coins. And by the way, pretty much 99.9999% of all crimes that happen with Bitcoin are caught. You're an idiot if you do any crime with Bitcoin because everything is trackable. Everything's on the blockchain. It's when you try and realize that, as in turn it into cash or a fiat, that's when they catch you. I say bring it on, ban all the privacy coins, and just watch them explode in price. And they'll probably say, hey, turn in all your Bitcoin or your Monero in exchange for digi-sterling. They may even give you a markup on it. At which point I will be strongly holding and not doing so. Right, so let's move on. Let's look at the trades. So here's our little open testing account. Where is it? It's this one here. So these trades are actually still running from the previous trading pub. So they're about $4.5 up in profit right now. We had one that closed out this morning for a little loss. The pound Kiwi. So I'll just go, in fact, let's go through the whole market. It's a brand new year, may as well go through the whole market. Donal, so going back to here, but when you said you were doing old ETH trades, selling on compressions, were you spread bet? No, so I was simply with real ether I was playing around with. So I was obsessed with basically growing my stash because by then, if we look at ether, where was it? It was obvious that it was game over, or not game over. It was just massive falling, and so what I was doing. In fact, we can just play this out. So let's just say I sold everything here. Let's say, and I've got 100. Let's just say I've got 100 ether. Okay, so I sold out. So let's say I sold out 100. So at 680, so 68 grand. Let's say $68,000. So I'm now waiting. So I'll then buy once it's fallen a bit. So let's say I buy in at 520. So now 68,000 divided by 520. Sweet. I've now gone from 100 ether up here, and I've now got 130 ether if I've now bought in around here. So now we wait, it goes up a bit, and then not much happens, and then it's like, ooh, okay, squeeze coming along here. So this is where I've got 130 ether, but I'll then probably sell for another loss, which is good because what happened is I could offset a whole bunch of tax profits because I was taking loads of hits. So because I bought in here and I'm selling for a loss down here, so I then sell my 130 ether at 463. So I've end up with less. So I've got back 60 grand now. But then I'll wait to the compression. Boom, it falls down. Let's say I buy in at 325. So 60 grand divided by 325. Boom. So now I've got 100, oops, even though I've taken a monetary loss in terms of pound sterling, now I've bought in at 325, I've now got 185 ether. Bingo. And then I'll wait, thinking it's going to rally, but then all of a sudden, oh, sorry. So I would have been zooming. I'll probably been looking at the 4-hour chart, but I see falling compression. I was, ah, shit, I've got to take another monetary loss. So I sell 185 ether at probably somewhere around here, call it 280. So monetary, I've now got even less. I've got $51,000. But then I wait, big sell off. Yeah, probably rebuy around 200. Probably got. I wouldn't have got the bottom, no doubt. So let's say 200. So 51,000 divided by $200. So now I've got 259 ether. Come on. I can't draw. Why can't I draw? 259. All the while, I'm clocking up my losses in terms of dollar or pound cents. But guess what? Already I've increased my holdings from 100 ether to 259 ether. And this is why I ended up with like 400 ether by the end of this. And I was doing this in live. So here, big old squeeze, big old squeeze. I definitely would have sold. Yeah, so I probably would have sold again at 200 after that. So times by 200, so back into 51 grand, 800, sell off. Here we go, buy back in probably 120. So now I've got 431 ether. Clocking up the losses, so offsets your tax, which is nice. But look, you've quadrupled your ether holding from 130 to 430-ish. But this is where ether screwed me in the ass. Like I saw this compression, and I was like, I'm selling, I'm getting out. So I sold my ether at like 160. So 400, or in this case, 431 times 160. So I've got 69,000 US dollars, and then all of a sudden it goes, see yes I am. I'm like, shit. shit. And then you have to sort of try and buy back in. And unfortunately, I didn't buy back in over here. I bought back in a bit later at like $200. But still, it's better just to do nothing. But if you're really certain that things are going to fall away, you can just exit and buy back in lower, then you'll end up with more. Does that make sense, everyone? That's how you can actually increase your pot in a falling market. So,
yeah,
cool. Right, I think we've been going for 2 hours now. I think we should call that a day. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, hope you've all had lovely time off. And that 2021, you're going to beast it. Although I'm very bearish on 2021, but you don't let external circumstances affect you. Just try and pivot the best you can. So yeah. Righty tighty, love you all. I'll see you next Monday, but I'll probably most likely make another video update, trade update soon. Right, toodles.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks, Sam.
Bye.
Take care. Cheers.